Hi, everyone. Welcome to Our Disabled Future, a series where disabled voices lead the way. I'm your host, Nico. It is a good day for disability inclusion. Each day during Disability Pride Month and beyond, there's my voice. Each day during Disability Pride Month and beyond, I'm amplifying real disabled stories, where we are, where we want to go, and how the heck we're going to get there. Together, I hope. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Jermaine. Let's dive in. Hi, Jermaine. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, welcome. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to add to the disabled future conversation for Disability Pride Month and just beyond that.
I love that. All right, so tell us about yourself and about your disabled life.
So, my disabled life begins in two ways. So, I was born with cerebral palsy as a young child, and in my 30s, I developed a chronic skin condition. So, that is two disabilities. And my chronic skin condition is hidradenitis suppurativa, and my disability I was born with is cerebral palsy. So my disabled life begins in Georgetown, Guyana, and in New York City. So I lived in Georgetown, Guyana since I was 9 years old. Obviously, when you live in a foreign country, there's not a lot of resources. So my mother decided to migrate me to America so that I can get all the resources I need. And I've been living in America ever since. And because of her, I don't think I would be as independent if it wasn't for her. But developing another disability in my 30s, it made me realize how, as you get older, your disabled body changes. Because I always thought, oh, I would have the same disability my whole life. And developing a chronic illness is not for the weak. Um, I had flare-ups. I had drainage in my body. Sometimes I'd be so tired I can't do anything. Temperature changes. I'd be hot. I'd be cold. Work. So sometimes, I may be in the middle of a flare or whatever, and I have to adjust to that while I'm working, and navigating all of that is a talent. And people don't know disability is a special skill because you have to navigate so many things on a daily basis. Outside of that, I am the founder of Black Disabled Lives Matter, a movement that is community driven through mutual aid, community partnerships, and different things that I like to do. I've done 3 marches. I've been in a couple of museums. I've been featured in PBS, NBC, ABC, and all those things. And advocacy work. In 2024, I spoke to the CDN about chronic illness and disability, and that was powerful. So I've done some work in the community that is historic. Right now, I'm in the Museum of New York City. Um, I've been in a lot of museums across the world, so I've been able to really use my voice, my likeness, educate people and to cement my legacy at this very young age.
That's a lot. Congratulations on all of your accomplishments.
Thank you.
Of course. So,
Oh, I
Jermaine,
always forget to mention this, but I was
Mhm.
also a dancer. Go ahead.
Remarkable. Jermaine, what does a disability-friendly future look like for you?
Um, A disability friendly future lately is one where people don't feel sorry for me, where people allow me to be in the fullness of my disability, where people's default settings is not always to help me first, you know, because that's most people's defaults. When they see somebody with a disability, they want to help them. I always tell people, unless I ask you to help me, do not help me. And sometimes I want to do it on my own to learn how to do it on my own. But it does not mean that I'm uh don't want help. I just would rather learn how to do it by myself than pretend to, because when nobody's around, you have to be able to survive. So I always tell people, when you approach a person with a disability, you have to ask them if they want help. Do not assume, because then you're gonna put yourself in some problems. Um, I've definitely had those issues with my caregivers. Like, no, I don't want you to help me. I want to figure this out. I want to do it myself. And sometimes they don't like it, but it works for me because I want autonomy over my own body and a choice. Um, a lot of times as a disabled person with the multiple systems we're in, we don't often have a choice. So I think wherever we can have a choice as a disabled person, we should have it. Nothing should stop us from having our own choices, our own autonomy, our own freedom, and our own liberation, to be honest.
I can fully endorse that. That sounds like a wonderful idea. In your answer, you call for greater disabled autonomy and greater respect for disabled decision making. How do you think we get there, though? What's our strategy to build that disability friendly future that we just described?
I think in terms of decision making and disabled future, I think it's about listening to us. I feel like a lot of times, although people listen to us, they ignore us a lot. They listen to us just to pass the time, but they're not really listening. So it turns into, okay, I'm listening to you for the sake of the conversation, but not because I want to understand you. And that can be very dangerous. Um, I want people to learn to listen to us for understanding, listen to us for clarity, and listen to us to know in knowing how to help us.
I really love that. Sometimes in my own experience, I also feel like I'm just being heard just to be heard, but then a follow through action doesn't always come, right? So I see you in that answer as well. All right, Jermaine, as we close our time together, I want to give you a chance that you and I, as disabled people, rarely get, and that is a chance to brag about yourself. Promote something that you've done recently that's very cool, or maybe something you've got in progress that is very cool. If you want to build your presence or your following online, where can people find you? This is just a chance for you to be your own cheerleader. Go ahead.
Okay, okay, that's perfect. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
My short film, which is called Jermaine Greaves, the film. So I'm currently looking to book screenings for that film at the moment. Um, right now I'm doing a mutual aid to pay back rent. I currently owe 3,900. That is also on my social media. But the two social medias you can follow to find me is Jermaine Greaves on Instagram and Black Disabled Lives Matter. Also, I'm a co-partner um with a person in Staten Island. And we developed a clothing brand called Not Like the Other Kids. So that has a website, stereotypeco slash not like the other kids, and all those clothing designs will come up. There's also my website for everything that you need to know. And the cool thing I will brag about myself is I was in a Beyonce video in 2022 as a dancer. It was a fan-made video. I kind of made that video on a whim, and it went extremely viral all over the internet. And Beyonce's team reached out to me, so that's a cool thing I did. Um, Another cool thing I could brag about is that the film I've been promoting is now an international film. We've won international awards for the film. So I'm really happy about where the film is going, and there'll be more announcements in the coming months about where the film will be streamed and things of that nature. But we are working on a lot of stuff around my very special short film. But right now I'm doing like a lot of organizational tours and trying to connect with organizations to show the film. So that's something I do. I do have all the things to promote the film when the time comes. So I'm excited. A lot to look forward to.
Absolutely. It is very exciting.
Yeah.
Jermaine, thank you for your time.
Thank you. This was fantastic. I really enjoyed myself.
Of course. All right, folks, tune in
Nice
next
to meet
time.
you.
Remember, this is our disabled future. We're building it one day at a time together. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'm rooting for you, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Bye.